Women helping women, how are you today on this beautiful Saturday? So excited to be here. My name is Ivana Richey. I'm a self-love and relationship coach. I'm so excited to be here. So as you're tuning on, say hi. Let me know that you're here. Let me know that you're watching. Usually I talk about self-love, but today I'm going to be talking about relationship communication and the way that it impacts us, and especially the way that we're showing up in our business. I am extremely excited. I can't wait to talk about this. And I absolutely love when you're active, when you're asking questions, when you're letting me know that you're here, even if you're watching the replay, #replay, so that I know you watched. Okay? Like I said, as you're hopping on, give me a thumbs up, give me a comment, give me something to let me know that you are watching. I've been coming on Fridays and Saturdays. So it's going to be Saturdays, I think, from now on. So we're going live every 7 days as standout members. But I think it's important to talk about our relationships. It's important to talk about our relationships because the way that we relate to one another, with our significant other, with our partners, with our spouse, whoever it may be that you're in a relationship with, will impact the way that we're showing up. If we get to the point where we want something, we want this, we want that, we want to make money, we want to attract clients, we want to show up a certain type of way, that is all going to be impacted. It's going to be impacted by the way that we relate to and communicate with our significant other. And I think we don't talk about that enough. We're so focused on talking about how do we do this? How do we run this group? How do I attract my ideal clients? How can I make more money? How can I get more customers? And we get caught up in the hows of how to do the business that we forget that it's all about relationships. Not only relationships with the people that we're communicating with, the prospects, our clients, our customers, our members, our followers, right? It's also about the relationships behind the scenes. It's actually the relationships behind the scenes that are the most important. And I've shared so much with you already in the lives I've been doing here, that our relationship with ourselves determines the quality of our lives, especially when we're running our business too, especially our business. Because based on how you feel about yourself, that's going to determine how you're showing up in your business. The way you feel about yourself is going to determine how you run your groups. The way you feel about yourself is going to determine what kind of copy you write. The way you feel about yourself is going to determine whether or not you're going to show up for lives like this. Or if you're going to say, no, I'm going to save it for the next day, for the next week, right? So we talked a lot about how self-love is an integral part in the way that we're showing up in our business, because our business should be an extension of who we are, and we should not be a copycat. And there are so many different ways that we can run our business, so we don't have to do it exactly like the next person is doing it. And every time someone has had a very difficult life, gone through life in their own way, they figured out how to do it in their own way. So there's so many different ways, and there's so many different people that you can learn from. And even for me, like I've shared before, I do self-love and relationship coaching, but the women that are attracted to me, sometimes even the couples, they come to me and my husband, and they ask us, how do we do it? Because it's attractive to them. So those are some of the things that we can look at. But what we forget to look at is our relationships behind the scenes. And yes, all relationships, but specifically our most intimate relationships, which are obviously our relationship with our significant others, right? I'm married, I have a husband. I don't know what your relationship status is. You can feel free to share. Even if you're single, this is going to be beneficial because eventually you're going to be with someone, right? But especially for the people that are in a relationship right now, who are married right now, we tend to forget. We want to use our business as an outlet to escape our relationship issues, right? I can't communicate with my partner. I can't communicate with my spouse. Let me go live and let me go do a live in my group. I can't deal with my partner right now. I can't deal with my spouse right now. It's too annoying. and we haven't been able to resolve this problem. So let me just go and create a new program. And oftentimes we create content for our business out of a frustrating place, out of a place of frustration, because we're not really getting along with our significant other. And that's what I'm going to continue to talk about today. Angelica said, how can we set apart business and relationships when you work with your partner? Okay, so I work with my husband too. Well, I do both. Like I coach women, I do self-love and business coaching with women, and then I do relationship and couples coaching with my husband. So I am not setting anything apart. I'm not setting anything apart either, because I'm working with my spouse as well. So it depends on how you want to build your business. So many people want to separate their relationship. Even, it doesn't matter if you are running your business together with your partner or not, but why are we so obsessed with wanting to separate it? Why is that? We want to show up one way in our business and then we show up in a different way over here. My husband and I have such amazing intimacy that everything that we do, whether it be our business or we're going out for dinner or we're just playing around, whatever we may do, it's awesome. It's fun, right? But a lot of people, they want to have their business here and have their personal life here. And although we do need to disconnect. We do need to disconnect. But we should not make it as complicated. When you are running your business with your partner, when you are running your business with your spouse, it should be an extension of who you are as a couple. People want to see that. You may be saying the exact same thing as the next couple is saying, but who you are and your energy is going to speak for itself. And that's going to determine whether or not someone wants to work with you. It doesn't matter if you're relationship coaches. It doesn't matter if you are in affiliate marketing. It doesn't matter what you do. But who you are as a couple is going to be expressed through the screen, right? Thank you. Never thought about it that way. You're so welcome. Right? So we have to think about that. It's not about how we're running our business, it's who we're being and how we're showing up. What kind of energy are we putting out? And are we preaching and speaking about one thing, but then behind the scene we're doing something completely different? Right? My husband and I, we're currently doing a masterclass, and I was just super vulnerable in it. And I talked about some of my own flaws and some of the mistakes I made in my own marriage. Instead of showing up and hiding those parts of me. But this is also a conversation that could be simply this, right? Just for the people that are in relationships that are running businesses together. But what I wanted to specifically talk about today is when we do have arguments with our significant others, when we are in a place in our relationship or marriage that is not good, and we're not seeking support, we're not seeking help, nothing is changing, and we continue to suppress the pain, we continue to suppress the trauma, and we're using our business as an escape route, as an escape from that reality. And then when we're not seeing the results in our business, we continue to seek more and more and more and more, and we're seeking the house, and we're seeking more house, and we're really trying to figure out what's going on but when the very thing that is going on in your own household. So this is what I want us to look at today. Cheryl said, I want to quit my full-time teaching job to go full-time to freelancing graphic designs business, but my husband doesn't want me to. He wants me to think it over 100 times. Yes. First of all, that's awesome. I'm super excited for you. I believe that you can do it. Absolutely. And I'm sure you would be amazing at it. And this is where the disconnect comes. When we have different beliefs, right? When we have the belief that we don't have to think things through, we just have to trust our intuition and really tap in to our own power. And we believe that we can do anything and everything in this world. And we can. But our partner, our spouse will influence us, because when we are in a relationship, we're so intertwined. We become one, right? We're around each other all the time. You take your husband's energy. I take my husband's energy, and vice versa. In the beginning, when my husband and I were doing coaching, We were doing the couples coaching, but we also did separate coaching, which we're still doing today. Like I said, I do the self-love and business coaching, and he does life coaching and healing coaching by himself. In the beginning, I was trying to make him run his business the way I was running my business. And eventually he took after that. He was like, okay, you keep telling me. So he started doing it, but it wasn't working for him because it wasn't the way that he wanted to run his business. And I realized I was pushing my beliefs and my ways that I wanted to run my business onto him. So that's something that we discovered, and obviously we're able to change. But in that situation, it comes down to that you have completely different beliefs. You want this for yourself. He may be operating from a scarcity mindset. He may be coming from a place of lack. Maybe he was told growing up by his parents that he couldn't do this, he couldn't do that. Maybe some of his dreams were shattered. I don't know his life, but this is what we have to look at. And then we have to sit down with our partner. We have to sit down with our spouse and come to a mutual understanding about that. What are we gonna do here? I really wanna do this, and I trust my intuition. I know I can do it. Why is it? What is going on here, right? Why do you think I need to think it over? What are you afraid of? What do you think may happen, right? So many times our dreams can get shattered and destroyed, and we buy into other people's beliefs. And we're wondering why we're stuck. We're wondering why we're unhappy. We love this person, but our communication is not there. We love this person, but our beliefs, our vision is all different. And it's super, super confusing. So there's so many factors to look at, so many factors. But first of all, we got to get on the same page. And that's something my husband and I had from the beginning. But even though we did, over time, I realized that I was projecting my own beliefs onto him. And this is what we do a lot. We project. We project our own stuff. We project our own trauma. We project our own fears. We project our own pain. And this is what happens to us a lot in relationships. This is what happens a lot. So maybe a lot of the stuff you have going on within you may not even be your own. It may be your partner who's been telling you that you can't do it this way. You have to charge this. I can't believe that you're working all those hours. Oh my gosh, what kind of client is that? God knows, right? There is so much, and especially if your partner or your spouse is not working with you, he or she will have his or her opinion about it, right? And that is going to influence you. And those are the things that impact us more than we want to think about, that we even want to consider, right? The most fun thing is when people show up on these lives, right, and talk about, okay, this is how you can make an X amount of, dollars or whatever it may be. But then we make that money. We have all these clients, but we're still not happy because we haven't taken care of the root. We can build from broken foundations. We can make a lot of money coming from a place of pain and frustration and trauma. I've said that before. But why not build from a place of love, belief, abundance, trust, support, right? So before we try to figure out all the hows, we have to look at our current environment outside behind the screen. That's what I want to encourage you to do. If you do need to sit down and have a conversation with your spouse about this, if you need to talk to your partner, whether you're running your business together or alone, you have to come to mutual grounds about how you're going to approach this moving forward. What are you going to do? What steps are you going to take? If you can't support me in this area, I need you to be quiet and let me, if what you're saying hasn't been benefiting me, if that may be the case, we have to figure something out. We cannot let other people affect us. We cannot let other people have their opinions that are not serving our growth, that are not serving our expansion, that are not serving our vision and what we have in mind, what we believe can happen. And this can even get tricky even if you're running a business together, because you may want to run in one way. You may want to charge certain prices. You may want to work with certain type of customers or clients, but your partner or spouse doesn't. And this is where the communication comes into place. This is where the communication comes into place, because we have to build our communication on truth, our truth. if we can't speak our truth in our relationship, if we can't be truthful about our own truth, how do we expect to attract our ideal clients when we're not already operating from that place? Right? If I can't tell my husband how I feel, if I can't tell my husband what I think, what I believe, what I desire, what makes me think that I'm going to be able to come on here and teach? And what makes me think that I'm going to be able to help my clients transform in the ways that I desire to help them transform if I'm not even already doing it myself? And this is what happens many times. We get caught up in the business aspect of it, thinking that the business is separate from our relationship with ourselves and with other people, especially our significant other. When in reality, those relationships are reflected in and through our business, because people are always watching. They're watching and they're watching and they're watching, and they're paying attention. They're paying attention to how you're showing up. I can't tell you how many women reached out to me this year that have been following me for years, and I had no clue. And they said, "Oh my gosh, you look so much, you look so vibrant, you look so different. The way that you're showing up is completely different than the way you were showing up last year," and so on and so forth. Because people are paying attention to the things that you don't think that they pay attention to. And then when they choose to sign up, when they choose to buy, when they choose to work with you, it can be for the most random reasons. And you're like, "Oh, that's not why," but you don't know. And that's not your job to find out. Our only job is to do the inner work, to make sure what we're doing in our business is really aligned with what we want to do, to make sure whatever strategies we apply to our business feel exciting, and we know that this feels right for me. It might be a little difficult, it might be a little painful, but I know this needs to be done, and I know I can do it. And we have to speak our truth. We have to communicate with our partner. We have to communicate with our spouse. We have to speak our truth. We have to be honest. We have to share everything. And that's what a lot of couples don't do. We don't speak our truth. We're not honest. We don't share about our past. We don't talk about things. And we get trapped in a relationship that isn't fulfilling. And then we don't realize that when we're trapped in a relationship, when we're trapped in a marriage, that is going to be reflected through our business. It's going to influence us extremely. And the way that influences us is going to show when we show up for coaching calls, when we write our copy, when we do these lives. Everything that we do will show that in ways that you can't imagine, because energy speaks more than anything that you can think of. So we have to have the truth going on here. We have to speak our truth. Then also we have to trust ourselves, and we have to trust our partner, and we have to trust the process. And this is something that is not going on much at all. We don't trust ourselves. First of all, we don't speak our truth. We don't trust ourselves. We don't speak our truth on here, on social media, with our clients always, with our followers. We don't trust ourselves, and we don't trust the process. And it's the same thing in our relationship. We don't speak our truth to our significant other. We don't share everything. We're embarrassed about some things. We're ashamed about some things. We're not trusting ourselves, and therefore we're not trusting them. And then we want to show up, and we're wondering, why the heck is this not working? She knows as much as I do, but she's making so much more money. Oh, it's my pleasure, Cheryl. She's making so much more money, but I know more than she knows. Not realizing that maybe the biggest difference is the way that she's carrying herself and the way that she's handling things behind the scenes. And that's what we don't want to look at many times. We look at what we're seeing up front. We're looking at symptoms. We're so good at attacking the symptoms. I don't see any money in my business. Let me attack the money part. I'm not seeing any clients. Let me attack the client part. Instead of looking at your relationship with yourself, instead of looking at your relationship with your spouse, instead of looking at your relationship with your children, instead of looking at your relationships with your employees, instead of looking at your relationship with your employer, instead of looking at your relationship with your family. Because it all gets reflected in our business, and our business should be an extension of who we are. And we should be making money because of who we are. And that doesn't mean that things are gonna come right away all the time, but sometimes they do for certain people. It just depends on the way that you're able to transform and how you process information and how truthful you are and the way that you choose to go through this life. But if there's an area I don't think we talk enough about, it's our relationships, our intimate relationships. We don't talk enough about how they influence us. And we especially don't talk about how much they influence us when it comes to our business. The biggest reason, other than myself, for the success with my clients and my business and my confidence, I was so scared to do these lives in the past. And I would look here, I would look here, I would look down. I would always look somewhere. I could not even look in the camera. I was so nervous. I had no confidence. But my husband brought me to prisons. My husband brought me to jails. My husband brought me to halfway houses. My husband brought me to boys and girls group homes. My husband brought me to juvenile detention centers, and he just threw me out there in front of those people, in front of those kids, and just showed me what it looks like when you're yourself. So I was building that confidence. And that helped me. What I was doing behind the scenes and the support I had from my husband, behind the scenes, that people weren't seeing that on the screen. They weren't seeing that, and they didn't know that in our sessions until I told them. So we have to look at the behind the scenes stuff, because that's what makes the whole everything. That's what makes our business. And we don't realize that. We go through the motions, we try to figure out the how, we look at the symptoms, and we try to attack the symptoms. And we don't spend enough time. If our communication sucks with our significant other, our communication is not going to be very good with our clients. I'm going to say, oh, it is. Okay, but imagine how much better it could get if you improved your communication skills and the way that you communicate with your partner. If your relationship with yourself is not where it could be, the transformations that you are offering to your clients will not be where they could be as well. So there's always inner work to do, and there's always more work to do in our relationships, in all relationships. But specifically our intimate relationship, because that's the person that influences us the most, because we spend so much intimate time with that person. And what he or she thinks, it means more to us, and it affects us more than we want to admit. So if our partner or our spouse is not supporting us, it will impact the way that we show up with everything, in our writing, in our speeches, in our coaching, in our consulting, in our selling, with everything. It's going to impact that. So we have to improve the way that we communicate with our partners. We have to build on truth. We have to build on trust, and we have to be willing to go through the transformation, not only by ourselves, but together. Because otherwise, it's going to be really difficult to build a successful business if you try to do it by yourself, but you don't have the support. And maybe you're the one who's like, I don't care how we communicate. I don't care what's going on. I'm still going to do my business. I'm just going to care about that. But then you're wondering why people don't want to work with you, because they're feeling that you're not all about relationships. So everything that we're preaching, everything that we're teaching, everything that we're coaching, we have to live it. And not everybody does that. We want to separate our business from our personal life. And yes, there is a time where we're running our business, and there is a time where we're having fun and doing other things. Although I think running your business is extremely fun, so I don't really separate that. But obviously we schedule different things. But everything affects everything. So the way that I communicated with my husband an hour ago, we had a serious conversation that could have become a fight, but it didn't. That we were able to resolve really, really nicely. That impacted me and the way that I was showing up here now. If that fight would have gone, if that conversation would have turned into a fight, it would have impacted the way I showed up here. Everything impacts everything. So we got to make sure that we're working on everything. And in this, obviously in this live stream, I was focusing on our intimate relationships with our partner, with our spouse, right? So I want you to take some time and talk to your spouse or talk to your partner tonight and see if you can come to common grounds. See, what do we want to do moving forward? How are we going to deal with this? What are we going to do? Can you support me in this area? Can you stop saying this? Or can you stop sharing your opinion here where I feel like it's not helpful? And if not, can you let me do it my own way, right? So we have to figure something out. Sometimes we just go through the motions and we're just reactive to everything. You're just reactive to everything. And if you're finding it really, really difficult to communicate with your significant other, my husband and I are currently doing a 3-day couples communication masterclass in our free group. It's called Spiritual Couples, and I linked it there. And obviously you need to be a little spiritual because we believe that we're so meant for so much more as a couple than just the worldly things, right? So we have to look beyond the limitations and the labels and the identifications, right? We identify with so much. So if you want to join that masterclass, you can just join the group and you'll be able to access it. If you are at a place where you're like, okay, this was super nice, but I need more help. I need more support. I really can't communicate with my partner. There's so much that I want to do, but I don't feel comfortable sharing with him. I don't feel comfortable sharing with her. Every time we talk, it turns into an explosion, and I don't want that, and I don't know what to do. I don't want to leave him. I don't want to leave her, but I really don't know what to do, and it's impacted not only but my business, but my well-being. It's impacting everything, and I want so much more for myself. I want to be happy. I want to be joyful. I want to be at peace. I want to feel abundant. I want to really, really blossom into the woman that I'm meant to be, but I cannot do that because we're not on the same page. And I can't not run my business the way I want to run my business because we're not on the same page. And my significant other is impacting me every day so much. And even though I pretend like it doesn't hurt me, even though I pretend like it doesn't bother me, it does bother me, and I don't know what to do. And if that's the case, you can schedule a 30-minute consultation with my husband and I, and we can dive more into what is going on in your particular marriage or your particular relationship. And if you're like, okay, awesome, but I also want more help, we also have a program coming up on Monday. It's called Captivating Communication. And it's 3 months, it's three weeks long, not 3 months. It's 3 weeks long where we're breaking down communication in so many different powerful ways. And it's really, really designed to help you communicate from a divine place more than from a wounded place. It's all about helping you realize how trauma is influencing the way you're showing up in your conversations. We're talking about fighting fair. We're talking about different communication styles. We're talking about body language. It's really, really powerful. But you can read more about it with the link that I share there in this description. And the final thing that I want to share with you, because I know a lot of you ladies love journals, I also have an intimacy journal here for passionate couples. This is really powerful. It has over 183 pages. It has prompts. It has intimacy builders. It has quotes. It has like some letters in the end, some strategies, couples affirmations. It has a lot of beautiful things in here. So this book is super, super powerful too. If you want it, it's $25.99. You can comment here or send me a message and I'll send you the link to purchase it. But that's it for today. That's what I wanted to share today. So if you're interested in anything I've talked about, you can either use the links here or you can send me a message, a private message. You can just send me a private message and I'll be happy to chat with you. So thank you so much for listening and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.